himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Hay deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
get it. Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Hello and welcome to the Triple Bypass Racing League Round 1 of Season 3. We are here today at the wonderful, nice and warm at 30 degrees Celsius, Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, USA. We will be driving around a 2.46 kilometer, or for the Americans out there, a 1.5 mile asphalt oval circuit here as we have started up into qualifying. We will quickly touch on some very interesting fun stuff we have going on with this race. So you can see it is the Around the World in 80, but the Around the World in 80 Hours 105, as sponsored by the driver who unfortunately won't be here today, but the 002 of Oliver Turan. And he is going to be going for walks, bikes, and rowing his way back into shape, while also raising funds for the Ronald McDonald House to help take care of sick kids and their families, which is, to be entirely honest, fantastic. We have a Ronald McDonald House right by where I live here, and I know how much those things are absolutely valued by everybody when it comes to having to stay around with their kids, and rather unfortunately not quick in and out little deals at the hospital there. So very fantastic organization for him to be helping to donate to. And as you can see, yes, qualifying is underway with so far Bradley taking a provisional pole at the 31:38, and this Kansas track is very fun. It is very fast. It is a progressive banking on the corners. You have a 17 to 20 degree banking going through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. The tri-oval in the finish line area is a 9 to 11 degree banking. So the higher you get, or the further outside you get on the track, the higher it will get. And then the back straight will be a 5 degree banking. So nothing too crazy, but a very fun, very wide open track. So we can see lots of single file, 2 wide, and even 3 wide. Not nearly as stressful as watching it go around Daytona.
Yeah, hello.
And with
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, and with me today, I do have Dan Biggles, as he read that perfectly. He came right in right there. So, how's it going for you today?
I did. Thank you, Kenton. It's been fantastic back to be here in the oval racing in the heartland of the United States of America, as we are underqualifying for Kansas Speedway, as you mentioned, Around the World in 80. Once again, thanks to our fantastic sponsor there of the 002 Oliver Machine, who once again said would not be here today. But the other gladiators are going to be here today, and the one we're actually looking at the moment is Mr. Chris Hannigan, who usually does broadcast or commentate this one. He's decided to get behind that 84 machine and drive it around as quickly as possible, those 4 turns. And at the moment, his time that he's setting partner is not quite a time to set. He might have just got one there now, and no, he didn't actually. So I'm just wondering why that time's not set. But welcome everybody in the chat too. Let's go racing.
Let's go racing indeed. And yeah, this track's actually a lot of fun. And kind of like I had mentioned, like with how wide the turns are, like you can see there's a lot of track space for these guys to be driving around on, and not really having to worry too much about, getting really close and bumping and endorsement lambing and stuff like that. It's a lot harder, not necessarily impossible to do. I did see it, and hitting the wall, I was just going to say, is less likely, as we watched Mark Herzog here make a little bit of contact with the wall there. But it is an easier time trying to avoid walls, and with this, you're not going to be braking at all. It's more lift and coast through the corners before you get on the throttle there. There will be a lot of use of that apron, especially coming through the start-finish line. That'll be the biggest thing, so it's all going to be doing so smartly so you're not taking out the driver next to you, because less yellow flags we deal with, the better.
Yeah, and exactly, and the yellow flag's always going to be a situation when you're going to have a bunch of cars bunched up onto the track. I believe we're going to have about 20 or so in change. All excited here for round 1. Sponsored, of course, by Around the World in 80 Hours. Can you get around the world in 80 hours? I think you can, can't you? Depending on which kind of car you're driving, a Ford, Chevrolet, or a Honda, or a Toyota.
Toyota?
Yeah, I'll get it right.
Yeah, same area. I get it. Yeah. Very, very similar style. And yeah, I think you can. I don't know. I've never tried it in a car. I feel
I
like
got a hot air balloon if you want to try it. We'll probably crank it up in the backyard.
I'd be down. Let's go. So, oh, a little spill there as we, I believe, are wrapping up. Yeah, and there's qualifying is going to be finished. So our starting group in P1 here, we're going to have Zach Roethlisberger, followed by Sean Bradley, Jeff Slaughter in third, Tyler Merritt in fourth, Al Corey in fifth, Mark Herzog in sixth, Matt Perezzini in seventh, Dustin Barton in eighth, Ben Harcum in ninth, Derek Catt in 10th, Jason Benton in 11, John Campbell in 12, John Crutchley in 13, Matt Harmon in 14, Chris Hannigan in 15, John Kreidler in 16th, Keith Handlon in 17th, Kyle Gerzek in 18th, Chris Melton in 19th, Brandon Hinton in 20th, and John Barton in 21st. So we will have 21 drivers on the grid to start this one, which is always exciting. The more drivers you have, it at least adds a little excitement. When you got, like 10, it's like, well, it's a little long of a track for that.
You do, and you have a good strength for field across the board there. I mean, Zachary, who's got that 93 machine Ford on poles, it's about almost a 6K I rating. We've got drivers across the field that our average is about 2. I'd say give or take strength for field would be about 2, but I rating's one thing. And talk to Max Verstappen about that one. Apparently, there were some little rumors going about how could he possibly have been in a race about 30 minutes on iRacing after a Formula 1 race the other day. That was something that some of the people were talking about, going, how is that possible? Who knows? Unless somebody else is using the account. I'm not going to accuse him of that. Oh,
maybe it was Penelope. Isn't that his, sort of...
Oh.
The kid that
he's
always
something
around?
like that? I think it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember what they are.
Racing rig and shit.
Yeah. Give it a little what's up.
105 laps. We will get an opportunity if there is a caution car. Caution car is what I was looking for, called out there. And then we will be able to... drag any of these fantastic gladiators into have a bit of a yarn to us under the caution. So please let us know out there in the chat if there's any particular driver you are supporting or you would like to have a bit of a yarn to. Please, by all means, we will try to pull them in or any otherwise, and it'll be at the disposal of yourself there, Kendron, of whoever you like.
Sounds great. Whoever I feel like.
Yep, you have the power.
I have all the power. As we are underway, I believe they're going to do just one lap, and we should be very shortly underway here as they make their way down to the back straight, or down through the back straight, sorry, into turn 3 and 4. You can kind of see how high that banking is, but as you get further and closer to the wall, it actually gets higher. So if you're looking to save tires here, and with them not having a stage brake, saving tires and fuel is going to be a smart way to go, because the longer you can go, the less you're going to be going in with 4, 5, 6 people at once into the pits, and smoother your pit stops going to end up being.
Smooth operator, as Carlos Sainz would say. Smooth operator getting on the gas pedal right now, and they are going to peel in. We're going to go green. We should be going green at the moment. Keep an eye on the 93 machine. 77 on the inside of Sean Bradley, and then Tyler and Jeff. Let's go racing there, Kendron.
Yeah, fantastic jump by Roethlisberger there, as he was able to get very much ahead. As looks like we got a little bit of a blinker going on back there. Not sure who that was, but unfortunately. But you can see Roethlisberger really pulling away from the 77 of Bradley. Bradley taking a much more conservative line going along that higher lane, I guess, as you come through turn 3 and 4. Just trying to sort of save those tires. So you will see, for the most part, guys staying high, especially if they're trying to conserve. Once you start getting low, you do put a little bit more wear on those tires. They do have 3 extra sets in the pit lane, so 4 including what they have currently on. As well, they will have a fast repair for everybody, so everyone gets 1. So the less you have to use it, or the later you have to use it, the better. But obviously trying to avoid that as much as you can. You can see everyone cutting down pretty close to or crossing down into that apron, and that's going to be something that happens pretty much every lap. These guys are going to utilize as much of the track as you can. As we can see, this very conservative line staying very high. Again, that little extra banking there going to help maintain a little bit of speed, while at the same time conserving a little bit of those tires, because as you try and drag that car around, it typically you'll mostly wear out your front rights. We want to try and avoid that if you can, because if you burn through tires fast, it's going to just not be a good day for you.
That's something that Chris may be doing. He's gained 4 positions at the moment for the 84 machine, so he's looking to scrub on gaining 5 now on the outside. So they're the biggest gainers. Ben Harcum in P5 at the moment is going 4 positions, and 4 position for Matty in Bob Give or Take. They're switcherooing right now just as we speak of them. And the rest of the field are still the same 3. Top 3 have started in that current position on lap 4. They're currently in those same positions, and these are the different lines that you're talking about, taking it right up on the inside apron and then maximizing it out to the fence there and cut back in there. The shortest path isn't necessarily always the best path, is it? Because you're also protecting those tires.
Yeah, you got to protect those tires, and then you just want to maintain as much speed as you can. And with the fact that you're not going to be braking, it's not as you don't have to be as concerned about which line so much, but you do have to lift and coast a little bit. You're going to be, not going full out. This isn't like Daytona or Talladega, where it's just pin it down and pray, basically. So that you do have to give a little bit of a lift going into these corners just to help get the car around, because they are a little tighter of a corner than the 2.5 mile tracks and things like that. We get a little bit of a switcheroo between Roethlisberger and Bradley as they almost cut off the noses. It looks like Bradley is going to start to take the lead there, as yes, he is going to pull ahead on that inside lane, as Roethlisberger going to fight back a little bit and see what he's able to do. But yeah, you want to avoid as much as you can sort of that dragging, but and the closer down to the line you are without going super high right away, the more you're going to actually have to really get on the throttle early and hope you don't end up spinning that back end of the car around.
And we are on, so far, lap 7 of 105, and around the world in 80, and at the moment you can still see Zachary. But Ben, that's more surprising than anything, isn't it? 78 machine now up 7 positions, and he wants to make that number 8. All he has to do is overtake that number 93 machine. But Zach's not having too much about this right yet. He's going to say, all right, buddy, find the hardest way you can around. And once you know this too, don't you, mate? It's all about getting that slipstream, that toe. You need it. You can't be too far down the road. That's what's happening here.
Yeah, it's definitely the track is fast enough, and it is close or wide enough, and in terms of the actual length, like you have enough space that utilizing a slipstream and getting that draft is still going to be beneficial. This isn't like Dover or Bristol, where super short track and the slipstream is going to basically do nothing because you're already turning by the time you get to utilize it. They have quite a long back straight and a good section through the tri-oval, so making use as much as you can here, as Chris Melton and I believe that is the 57 car of Herzog, as they are dueling it out for their 10th position there. But it looks like Melton is going to take it, and we can see our Al Corey, the 45 car, as he is making his way, fighting for that P7 spot. He has lost 2 places, down from 5 to 7th, but as Chris Hannigan actually hops Matt Perzini for his 10th position gained here. So we do have quite a few guys that have gone up a lot of positions. Harcum obviously bouncing around with Sean Bradley as they keep dueling it out to see who's going to go where, as Harcum is on the inside line with Sean Bradley riding around on the outside line going through turns 3 and 4.
There we go. He's going to try to bring it here at the moment. No, back soft. We'll keep an eye on different angles there. You can see at the moment that Sean Bradley has made that position. Zachary's gone just up on the inside here for the 93 machine. Tucks in behind to get that nice toe. So he's dropped 1 place at the moment, but you've got plenty of time. When are you expecting the first round of pit stops?
First round of pit stops, typically, from what I've seen on this track, you're going to get tires starting to go in the early 30s and 40s. I believe fuel, they're still going to have around that same-ish time that you're going to want to come in. I believe, yeah, so you're going to be looking for around that 35-ish laps kind of thing, unless you're conserving quite well, in which case you might get a little bit more, is where I would expect things to go. But crazier things have happened. I've seen someone pull off a 60 lap fuel stint. There was a lot of clutching in on that one, but he did make it happen. So weird things have happened.
This is a great little squabble that's occurring at the moment. We'll see if we can just ride a little bit on board there with Mark Herzog, and you can see the two drivers up the road of Jason Benson and Chris Melton going for it as they're switching, and just a little bit further up there you've got Keith and Al. So smooth, a little... Oh, that's getting very out. I was just about to say smooth, fellas, smooth on the steering wheel there, but the car's starting to slide because that's when those tires are starting to get a little bit loosey-goosey.
Yeah, and it being 30 degrees is also going to not help. Your tires are going to get hot very quickly, and it's going to cause you get a little loose, and you start seeing that back end sort of slide up. For those who don't know, if a car is tight, the front end doesn't want to turn. If the car is loose, the back end is wanting to slide up high. So either way, both push you towards the wall, and both are very unfortunate. So a tighter car is a little easier to deal with because it's a little more under control at least. But a loose car is a little scarier for everyone around you as well, because hitting the wall, you kind of suck to it, and when you're trying to pull away, it tends to kick you straight across the track. So you want to avoid that.
Oh, that's loosey-goosey on the 55 machine on the background there of Keith. He's really struggling with some traction at the moment. And Rhea Raccoon out there, she was asking a question you could probably answer. Why are so many of them choosing to run the low line?
Typically, the reason they're trying to run the low line, I believe, is they're all expected to pit around the same time. But it's also jockeying for position. A lot of these guys are pushing as hard as they can, trying to get up a few spots. It's a little easier to kind of maintain a gap if you're in the front, opposed to trying to be behind another car. As you can see, the 55 right behind the 13 makes it harder to see the corners, whereas if you're in front of that line, it makes it a little easier to see the corner a little smoothly. So you kind of want some space, and with this track, while the high line is more conservative for the vehicle, at the same time, it's not going to be super detrimental to run that low line. And if you get a good run going into the corner and you really want to get by, you can dive down sort of thing and try and hold it. The issue is going to be that as we see the 55 once again make contact with the wall there. But the biggest thing is you actually have to let off the gas a little more. So unless you get a really good late apex and late turn in for these corners with these cars, it does make it a little tougher. So if I'm them, I would want to be a little higher, but I'm not racing, so what do I know?
Well, at the moment, yeah, but you are at the moment expectating the some of the best races you're going to find here for the Triple Bypass Racing League, with 88 to go on the dial, and they are getting through these laps quite quickly, which is great under the green flag conditions, and that's all thanks, of course, to our driver sponsor there. Today's racing driver sponsor is the 002 Machine Oliver, who is not here to earn, but certainly we do appreciate that sponsorship there from Oliver. If Oliver is in the chat or whatever, say hello. If not, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show later, Oliver. And we are still seeing great battles on the track, and once again there, just conserving a little bit of fuel, tires, and all that sort of stuff working together on the track. You can see some of those packs starting to form on that track map as well too, but so you know for a fact when you're kind of that car that's out in no man's land, well, you go, that's going to start hurting, isn't it, as you're pushing the air. And right here, that's the example of that one, is it? The 52 machine now. Chris, who is up 13 positions and currently sitting in P7. Oh, bit of contact with the wall too with the outside of the 24 machine. Oh, Matt.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a door slam, just a wee love tap. And like Rhea said there, the high line is faster around this track. Obviously, the only time you really want to have to dive down is if you're trying to pass, or going through the tri-oval. The higher line is always going to be quicker here. And it's just because the excess banking that they have, we had talked about, it is a progressive banking. So you do go from 17 on the inside all the way up to 20 degrees, which 3 degrees doesn't sound like a lot, but you can really carry a lot of speed. As we can see, the 55 goes down on the back straight coming into turn 3 there, is able to contain it. But yeah, you can even riding it on board, you'll hear much less getting off of the track or getting off of the throttle going into the turn while you're on that high line, as we see the In-N-Out Burger car make a little step up, and you can see this wonderful 55. So you can hear him get off the track, get off the throttle, and then you start to get on the throttle about halfway through the corner. Whereas if you're on that kind of outside line, you don't need to get off nearly as much. You can get on it a lot faster. So here he'll stay higher, and he can get on, so 3/4 till the the exit. So you can use more power. You can use more of the car to kind of get yourself through that corner with a higher speed, and you come out of it, you get a better carry. And one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to oval racing is, oh, well, I have to pass going into the corner, or like you would expect for a lot of road racing, where if you're going into the corner and you get a better entry, you have a higher chance, or you brake late, you have a higher chance of making that pass. With oval racing, it's all about getting a better exit out of the corner. So if you can get a better exit coming out of turns 2 and 4, you're going to have a much better time trying to get past, because you can have a long straightaway where you can really put the hammer down and not have to worry if you come out smooth.
Great explanation there at the moment. Pardon your keyboard dying at the moment. I was going to say, keyboard driving. No. And Sean Bradley still in the lead of this race by about 30-something seconds and change. He's starting to form a little bit of a gap now, as you know. And we have a caution. And I think that's Maddie. Yes, it is. So that's a little bit dinged up there on the inside apron, I have to say, there for the Stony Plain, Alabama. Is that an Alabama driver? We'll see. We'll go back and have a look at the replay of what's happening.
Stony Plain? I think that's actually Alberta.
Alberta, sorry, my apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Alberta. Matt Parazzini. Yeah, that's Stony Plain, Alberta. That's not too far from me.
From Matt's perspective, is that too much speed carrying out of the exit, isn't it? And boom.
Yeah, and unfortunately the 46 didn't have any speed going, and yeah, that inside wall doesn't give very much. It tends to be a little concrete.
So again, have a look at the replay of this one from zoomed in camera. Yeah, that's it. It's just that. Does anybody else get collected? I don't think so. It's just a simple incident. Now, will everybody elect to go into pit road on this one as we go back to live pictures? It does not appear to be, but they can't just yet, can they? Because
yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's still closed. They probably will be able to come through about now. Yeah, I was gonna say everyone will be doing kind of a mad dash in, and caution or yellow flag pit stops are great and kind of dicey, unlike formula cars. And obviously with this, they are a little more interesting trying to get in and out, because it is all about what you're taking. So if it's going to just be fuel, which 26 laps in, I would expect it to just be fuel. Whereas most of the time, obviously with formula, you're only getting tires. So here, I don't think they're going to take tires. This will be a splash and dash. Well, as I say that, looks like most of them are going to get tires. 26 laps seems a little early, but I guess take advantage of the caution when you can. And we're going to see, though, a couple guys that did do a splash and dash are going to get the jump, and they're going to now come out in first and fourth, it looks like now. So got to decide what's worth it.
A couple of drivers have elected to stay out. These are the ones currently in the moment that caught it back up to the pace car. So you have Mark Herzog that stayed out. You have Justin Button that stayed out. You had Derek Cutt that has stayed out. Chris has also... Chris, no. And that's it. Chris now is the first ones that have made the pit stops. Now, I'm wondering, still sitting in pit road at the moment is Matty. And he's elected not to use a fast repair. Doing quite some
Seems
damage.
like it. I mean, we could quickly bring in Matt Parazzini. Let's give him a quick little shout and
see.
For
those pit stops to kind of get over and done with first before we kind of bother the drivers, because I had to focus on that. Let's see if we can get Matty in here. Yeah. Matty!
So, hey, Matt, how are we feeling out there? How that unfortunate little incident there, but everything else outside of that going all right?
My race is over, so not really, no.
Oh, really? So
even with the fast,
even with the fast repair, I'm going to end up like 4 laps down because I had the tow. So I'm just going to be out there making laps.
Yeah, we see it at the moment, mate. So what happened? You're carrying way too much speed into that corner there, and you tapped the back. I can't remember which the other driver. So what happened?
Oh no, the 46 lost it and got loose in front of me, and I had nowhere to go.
That would explain it. We're going to go back on. We're just watching the replays at the moment, my friend, and having a look at that. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because bang. Yeah, I think the 44 even made it tuck the wall, didn't it? And of course, you got nowhere to go at this point. You're just a passenger into the inside apron, and now the boys have to sit there and panel beat the rest of that car out for you.
Yeah, you know what? It just is. Unfortunately, with this NextGen car, if you have to get out of the gas suddenly coming off the corner, the way it unloads the IRS in the back of the car, you can't save it. Like it just comes around on you, and there's nothing you can do. I knew as soon as I saw him come up, I was in trouble.
Well, at least you get out there and do some more laps under your belt, mate. It's all more racing experience, isn't it? You never know what can happen, and I appreciate you coming in here for a quick chat to us. Does anybody you want to shout out real quick there? Or maybe anybody watching or whatever?
Yeah, just want to thank my sponsor, Sean from Apex Designs. He makes these amazing paint schemes for me and stuff, and just unfortunately tonight's just not going to be our night.
There you have
There's
it.
still time.
Yeah.
You got lots of laps left.
I'd say it's never over until Barney's waving that checkered flag. But we'll see.
Well, hopefully, maybe I can get Hannigan to cause a yellow or two here, and we'll be.
Oh, okay. Chris Hannigan at the moment, who's 10 positions up and P5. We'll let you get back to racing, Matt. Thank you very much for the chat, Matt.
Yeah, no worries, guys.
There you
Thanks
go.
for doing the broadcast tonight.
No worries. So there we have it, our first caution at the moment, as we're on lap 28. 78 to go here at the moment, and there is some of the chats down there talking about running the low line to save tyres. Is insanely talented. That's Mr. Zachary, who currently at the moment is in, I would say, net lead with the pit stops, because those other three drivers up the road, sorry, two drivers now up the road, of Dustin Barton and Derek Catt will have to go to the pit road at some point. Why do you think, there, Kedron, that they did not elect to go on the pit road?
Typically, it's a way of either trying to get a little bit of track position, or they are expecting another caution. As it looks like we are back under green here, as Barton does get himself a nice little jump, but it does look like Roethlisberger is going to be trying to make a move. He does have Bradley right in front of him, who was in the lead as they came in to those pit stops there, so a little bit ahead of him, but they are going to be right on the back of Barton. As for why they wouldn't want to come in, taking a gamble that there's going to be another one, I'm guessing, and kind of thinking, caution breeds cautions, but it seems kind of weird, especially, I mean, you have 4 sets of tires, and as both Rhea and Waltrip say here, the fall off here it's significant. So we're going to see, I mean, you can already see Barton's dropped into 5th already. Like, it's just a lack of tire makes it a little harder there. So
see a little tank slap around the wall there as well. I can't remember if those drivers it was, but they're starting to get a little push at it. Little risk in it for the biscuit, and why not? Because you're around the world in 80 hours for the Triple Bypass Racing League. Welcome back, of course, because we're back in round 1. All the scoreboard is set back to 0, so this is your chance to get out ahead and get a hurl of points there and start your season off as best as possible. And unfortunately, you just heard before from Matty, he won't be starting his season. Oh, and here it is. So just on board, I even have to change the cameras. Does he save it? Matty does save it. Great save for the 28. Drop a couple places, but hey, that's a lot better than being a pit road getting a car fixed.
yeah, that's not what you want to see. If you're that 28 car, that was a little scary looking, as it does look like Barton is coming in there, as I just saw a glimpse of his car as he's heading into the pit lane there. Although maybe he ran out of fuel. I don't know why. Yeah. It looks like he had to get a tow. I think he ran out of fuel, unfortunately, there. So, but yeah, beautiful save out of that Hardy's car there. Very smooth. Obviously not what you want to have happen, but unfortunately it did.
So Derek running out of gas. Derek's just letting the one, either that or his tyres are actually cooked. He's the only other driver currently on the moment on the grid who's yet to make that pit stop. You saw Derek was up and running, P2, essentially after that first round of pit stops during the caution. And now Derek, let's see what he's going to do. Now, he's up on the high line. Remember, you're going to have to cut back down into pit roads. You've got to be very, very careful of the 52 machine there. He's really struggling, isn't he? He's going to get absolutely annihilated by a bunch of these cars in the moment. But what is he doing? Does he think he's just hanging in there a little bit and saying, well, let's pray for another caution and I can...
Either that or he's trying to make they all get real clumped up real fast there. The only other thing I could really think of with him is what his game plan is trying to extend this first stint so that he can sort of try. As he goes sideways, he is able to save it with the help of the wall. There's him and looked like Parazzini and him made a little bit of contact as they came into turn 1 there. But he's just going to drop off the back very quickly. But yeah, extending the first stint so you can sort of extend the second stint. That way your third stint comes out later, so you have the fresher tires going into that final bit. Or I guess fourth stint, depending on how the stints all end up playing out. But I think the game plan here, or what he's hoping for, is to try and extend the first stint so that your second, thirds, and stints are a little further along, so that the final stint you're taking the least amount of fuel. You have the freshest tires going into that final bit, but it's a little risky because you definitely lose a lot of spots. But I mean, it's lap 35 and they still have 70 to go, so it's
and he's
got a lot of time.
He's now dropped to P16, so you can see quite a bit of it. He's almost, you're dropping about 2 turns really, aren't you, away from the race leaders. And this great battle that's occurring here, you can see on your pictures. So 2 abreast. We've even seen 3 abreast on a couple of occasions, and great driving between the drivers to keep that one together without multiple poles. We've only had that one instance so far and a couple of lucky saves. So far so good, but bunching up like this, you kind of foresee that something may be on the cards yet. And I said a big yet, but you've seen before last season with these drivers, they do a fantastic job of keeping the space, but also if gap car and driving the pants off these machines.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, these guys, they know each other pretty well. You have to have somewhat of a little bit of trust in the driver next to you when you're going into these corners or getting real close, or the driver behind you and he's looking like he's going to give you a little bit of a bump draft. So it's definitely a little bit of trust there, as it looked like we had a little bit of a contact with the wall up there, but all in all, it's still smooth. And Perezzini, he's looking to sort of pull away and get up with that next group as he's trying to unlap himself. He is only 2 laps down. I know he said he was going to be 4, but that's a couple safety cars away, and you're back in the game.
Yeah, I know, especially when it's so early with 68 to go as well. At that point, he had 80 or so laps, so... yeah, you always got to go, and I always say to drivers, like even if you go, you might be crushed a little bit and say, oh man, my chances. But you go, what else were you planning on doing at this moment anyway? You were planning on racing for a few hours, so you stick to it and just continue on with it. And as I said, you never know. You get the lucky dip of the draw there and go, wow,
exactly.
I didn't expect to finish some great points. And you know for a fact too, mate, when it comes down to the end of the season and you're out by a couple of points in the championship, you kind of look back on some of these races and go, I'm glad I put the effort in, and I'm glad I tried.
Oh, for sure. I mean, earlier a couple days ago, I ran that Draft Masters, the new new officials race they have in iRacing with the at Daytona for all the cars. So it was just drafting heavy, and I got taken out lap 2, I think it was. Dropped down to the back. I ended up 12th, and there was like 40 people in our split. So it was just, if other people crash out or they have a bad race or whatever it is, or they're miss a pit stop or whatever their problem is that they bail out of and end up gaining spots just by being there. So nothing terrible, as we can see. Chris Hannigan having himself a fantastic race. He is now in P3. He's up only 12.
Oh, there's contact in the wall as you mentioned that. Exactly. So maybe Chris is listening. I think Chris is in the chat with everybody else, but Chris, of course, is usually commentating this at the moment. Be like, damn, you casters. You can't cast, cursed me. I'm the man behind the machine there, the 84, and he's getting it done, Mr. Christopher. I was going to say this weekend, of course, I think you got also the Bathurst, mate. So, yeah, once again, that's one of the tracks you never give up, isn't it? Because it's going to be like a 50-car pile-up down the mountain, and you could gain a lot of positions if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. So... But a big gap from the top 3 here. As you can see, Bradley Roethlisberger really close, and then a little bit behind them we do have Hannigan, but then Harcum being 2.5 seconds back, as Derek Catt actually has made his way into the pits finally. So he's going in for his first pit stop. I mean, I called it. I said around 30 to 40. Wow. I said 35 to 40, so 42. See, yeah, crazy things happen. That little extra push, though, if he's going to be taking tires, he's going to be down a couple of laps, as we can see. I believe Dustin Barton, I don't think, is still going, as it looks like he stopped on lap 30. We'll see when how
Dustin's
quickly.
Not, unfortunately. Matt, of course, went back out again. So Matty will probably take that position back from Derek, who's sitting in pit road right now. So yes, exactly. But we are still Sean Bradley leading there from Zachary. What's his surname, Zachary? I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Roethlisberger, thank you very much for that one. And then Chris Hannigan chasing him down, who's the man of the hour at the moment, you'd have to say, for Chris, because he's gained the most positions and he's hanging in there. As you said, that pack, look at that on the track map. There's a big gap to P4. Poor all by himself there, Bear. Benjamin. Mm-hmm. Then you got a gap back to John, who's got this squabble of cars behind him. And of course, I have to say, Keith has been probably the Green Machine, one of the most active and exciting drivers to watch so far this evening, isn't it? Because he's always in the wars with people. He's always side by side. You know what it's like having one of those races, mate, isn't it? It's like, I've always got a car to the left and to the right of me, front, upside down, anywhere. It's just there. I can't get a break.
Yeah, it's the high stress races where you're constantly surrounded by people. But yeah, as we mentioned, Chris Hannigan, you got to look at Keith and John, both up 11 places so far. So both of them having a pretty solid race, and Hadlon, he's had some interesting incidents with the wall. As we hop on with John Crutchley in that 48 car just behind here. He is fighting for P12 or P11 actually. Sorry, with Harmon. Harmon had that fantastic save where he ended up on the apron down the back straight, but was able to keep her going and avoid any incidents there.
That was an absolute code brown moment there from Matty, but good on him for doing it, because I love the fact that you can. There is enough runoff area to save it, of course, as long as the car doesn't go completely around. You can just what do you do? Really, you don't panic, do you? You kind of just lift off the gas, let the car kind of catch itself again, and then kind of keep it pointing in the right direction, and once again, and then build your momentum, your speed back up again. Right? I'd imagine. So we're doing some action at the front of the field here, and we'll go back to that one. There they are. So, that's contact.
That's going to cause an issue. That's an issue right there. Yep, there we go sideways. He's able to keep it. Somehow no yellow flag.
Wow.
All right.
No, I don't know if it's called a pot. I saw some little smoke in the background as well, too. That's great. Do you think he lifted off deliberately as well, too, to say, oops, a my bad situation? It looked like it, didn't it? Because he didn't keep pushing the throttle.
No, yeah, he definitely looked like he kind of lifted off, so he wasn't just going to drive straight over Bradley there. As unfortunately for him, that's going to drop him back pretty far, and Chris Hannigan's going to just, go a thank you and take over the lead here now. He don't think he was expecting that, but he is now up 14 places, so having a fantastic day for him there. As it sounds like Empress Jess comes in and says, "Circle car go vroom." It does. It goes vroom very loudly too.
Yeah, they all go vroom.
Best way. I'll have to describe that as, circle cars go vroom. That's how you drive ovals. Just
I thought all cars go vroom. But fair enough.
Well, it depends. Other cars go vroom a little bit. This is just hard vroom. Let's just go. There is no stop.
You said
that's one thing these cars don't do well.
You're right on board. Look at that. So, you're not really changing gears too often. Fifth gear, just basically managing the throttle. And what about the clutch situation? Because, every once in a while you watch those, those like social media clips and stuff like that, and they say, some people say it's quicker to race if your clutch is on your wheel than it is on your pedals.
Can be, and the biggest reasoning behind it, some pedals, like I have, my set of pedals doesn't actually even have a clutch on it, so I have it set to my wheel, but I also have a Formula style wheel, so things are weird. But if you're using your clutch it allows you to get back on the higher power a little faster, because you can actually start the revving a little more. Whereas if you're coming out and it's not clutched in, but does take a little bit more practice, because you can obviously over rev it, and then you run the risk of blowing an engine, which I have seen happen and have had happen to myself. And obviously you want to avoid that, because when you blow an engine, that's like a 30-minute repair. Not very fun.
Yeah. At this point, if a race like this, you would blow an engine, that's it. You'd probably... I would give you permission to retire at that point, I'd say.
Yeah, you got a fast repair. You're good.
Yeah, fast repair, absolutely. Let's see this battle. They're going 3 abreast at the moment, and we go up into the wall. I've always said before, when you want to take that fence out, you got to buy it some nice dinners and flowers, and maybe she or he, whichever you would like to call the fence, may reward you kindly. If not, don't get in an argument with that fence, because I guarantee you somebody's not going to win.
Yeah, these cars don't like to go through fences. I've established that. I also learned Indy cars don't. Someone decided to try that with my vehicle. Did not work well. And then Empress Jess has actually responded back to what the other cars' sounds are, and it's just brap, brap, brap. So, fair enough, I guess. Yep, that can... Cool. But yeah, no, it's a...
Kenan can give us on board, like... I mean, yeah, it's just kind of... these ovals, they're just basically a constant hum and purr. I don't know. They don't really have this gruntiest V8 sounds that they do for the V8 supercars. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm Australian.
It's not super grunty, but there's the biggest difference being is you're constantly in. Oh, interesting. Harcum is flopping down to 4th gear. That's okay.
It's very close to the
Fair
wall
enough.
here as well too. You can see the angle on the steering wheel. Now for a driver
You can
as
see
well.
he's sliding.
Yeah, you can. And as we're already seeing this perspective, right? But a lot of drivers are going to have a lot of widescreen monitors out the side there, so they're going to be able to see a little bit more to the left and to the right. They're going to have a VR, but they still will have to be driving this view. So what you can see through the windscreen is practically what they can see as well, as they look at all the other instrumentation. And
His
also,
tires are hurting here. You can hear it. Oh yeah, when he goes in, listen, when he goes into turn 3 and 4, you're going to hear that dragging noise.
Oh,
And so that's because he's having to oversteer the car now. And he's also getting on the throttle a lot later because his tires are starting to fall off. As he does hop back into 5th gear there. I'm curious as to why he decided 4th gear, because you don't need to gear down for this track.
well, he's doing it right now, partly. Because they're hitting the wall. That's probably the reason why he wants it. Though they're getting him probably lifting off a little bit.
Unless he might be trying to use the gear shift down to try and help a little engine braking to getting to the car, like the front end, to actually turn there, because it looks like he's having a little bit of trouble, and it's staying really tight on him and not letting him kind of turn that front end of the car in at all there. And it looks like he's struggling a little bit there, and I can't tell if it's tires or if it's I'm assuming it's most likely his front right is just burned out. They are on, let's see, they came in about 25 lap old tires for basically everybody, and he is definitely one of them that came in. Actually, they're 32 lap old tires at this point, and it's a lot of tire burn in those cars, and obviously they're going to be looking to start doing that green flag pit stops, in which case could get real interesting real fast.
That's what the drivers will be expecting to see. Now, the other driver, of course, that took that ultimate different strategy of this man, Derek Catt, that elected to box on lap 41. We're currently on lap 58. We have 48 to go. So that alternate strategy, you'll see it pans out. He's 17th. You can see on the track map, that's where the red circle is, which I have to say is not too bad, because he's down the main straightaway now, and you can see the leaders are into turn 1. So that's like quite a bit. Remember, he's got fresh boots and towns, and they say these boots are made for walking. Well, Derek may be able to walk all over everybody else if they can walk on his strategy. So don't worry too much about that track, that P17 position, because you all know, look how everybody makes a pit stop. You can zoom on by anytime soon, but we're all going to see whether or not that caution that I think a lot of drivers are currently at the moment playing on a caution, aren't they? Including this man, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, got to be hoping for some form of a caution, because for oval racing pit stops under green, it's not quite as fun as road racing, because you're going to lose time very fast. It's a 30-second lap ish, just over. I believe it's about 31, 32, sort of depending on where you're at. In the pit lane, you're looking at about 45-ish to 46, maybe 47 seconds, depending how smooth your pit stop is. So it definitely can get a little interesting if you've hopped into the pits. And I mean, we look, Derek Catt, when he went in, was in the lead, and he's 2 laps down, so it can change very quickly. So these green flag pit stops, you need them to be perfect, and honestly, one of the best ways to do it, you want to go in a small group. If you start going in with 3, 4, 5 people, then you run the risk of someone hitting the brakes a little harder. You got to slow down for them. You've got to avoid making contact with somebody else trying to turn in front of you, and there just ends up being a whole bunch of other issues. So if you can go in like 1 or 2 of you guys or extras with you, then it's a little smoother. But once you start getting in groups of 5, 6, it gets a lot more concerning.
You called it, and you're absolutely right. You kind of have to have your buddies and your friends there, even if you are like you're battling each other on a track in championships. You're gonna go, hey, buddy, and they are. Majority of these drivers are all in chat too. So if you want to join this fantastic league, they will be racing. They'll be talking to each other. There may be. I don't think they actually really do any words to each other very often. There's a lot of respect here. And on top of it, they, just will probably, maybe someone will communicate. Some people might just have a little bit of a deafen themselves for a second or something like that as they can focus. But it is fantastic community here at the Triple Bypassing Racing League, and they actually have a lot of drivers. And imagine couldn't you, if you were in NASCAR or IndyCar or Formula 1, having all the drivers on radio chat at once? Could never happen. It would never happen. They would be swearing and cursing at each other. Oh, mind you, but they're also earning, what, $20 million a year contracts and stuff, so they're obligated to do that.
Yeah.
Action here,
Be
Sean
entertainment,
Bradley,
though.
and here's Ben as well. You said it was really struggling there with the 78 machine. You can see a little bit, isn't he? He's not 100% confident with the tyres on that one. He's just got to be more careful with the fence. But still hanging in there.
I mean, he should, at this point, especially with how his tires are, I think he wants to be driving a little lower down, but his car's just not turning for him, and you can kind of see it. He's got the angle of the car, and then he comes out of the corner, he's got a little wiggle, because he's still trying to turn, and the downside to that, once those tires start cooking, you start overturning the car, and we could hear that dragging sound when we were on board with him, and basically that's just cooks the car more, it cooks the tires more, and then you start wearing out that front right, especially, is the one that takes the biggest hit, as that one's the one kind of getting dragged down the hill as we get a little bumpsy.
Well, who's the driver? There's a driver obviously being lapped at the moment, so they're starting to get a lap car territory. I wonder if you know what? It's because it's Chris. Let's drag him in. Let's drag him in for a second, and we'll just ask him if he wants to chat to us. I know he's in a pressure situation, but then again, Chris is a commentator here at the James Parfitt Broadcasting Network, so let's see.
There he is. Yeah, I had to find him in the chat. I was like, where'd he go?
If he wants to have a quick yarn while he's leading this race, he should be pretty comfortable. Chris, at the moment, you are live on our broadcast. You got a quick minute to talk to us, or are you under a stress situation? Let us know.
I can barely hear you guys at the moment, so
fine,
can
okay.
I get back to Inter-Yellow?
Not a problem, thank you. Bye-bye. See you,
Bye,
mate.
bud. Yep.
Yep. So, once again, we don't really generally bring drivers in a regular green flag situation, but I guess he's got the engines purring, isn't he, in his ears. Whoa, what's happening here? This is getting really spicy, dicey. Al's got on the pit road. Here's Sean, here's Ben, just up the road here. So this is where this lap traffic's starting to come into play. Now it gets a little bit more confusing to figure out who is being a lap down, who's not. You can see it on the left-hand timing tower. Yeah, pit stops are coming in now, aren't they? Al's gone in.
Yeah, I was going to say, people are going to start hopping in here. Al Corey pops in here. He's going to try and make it and hope he has a nice clean stop. Looks like, yeah, he did.
They'll do one side of the car.
He is going to do tires, yeah.
Yep.
See, and that's the thing. I'm curious if he's going to do both sides or if he's just going to throw on the one set.
Yeah,
it looks like, no, he is throwing on both, yep. Because that's another very common strategy a lot of guys will take is especially if you're doing long green flag runs here, you hop in, you get your right side tires done, and then the next time you come in, you throw on a left side as they're sort of not necessarily out of sync, but you kind of offset it, so you're not, you get new outside tires, whatever's more burned out, and that way you're kind of rotating through, but it's a little harder to do when you're not really sure, and you can kind of see if you guys starting to get a little slippy slidey here, as it looks like we've got a couple that have come in. It looks like Milton also having hopped in, as Benson is also in the pits now.
This is essentially the danger zone right now, where you've got to have an utmost full concentration to the level there, because you want to be able to bring that car into pit road soon there as the tyres start to get loosey-goosey, as you said too. Sometimes I think it's just better to take all four tyres, and they're going to cost you a few more seconds in pit road, but at the end of the day, at least your uncertainty of what tyres are causing issues not going to be a problem when you've got fresh boots. And you know how good it feels when you've got fresh boots out there, grip that track a little bit better, a little bit more fuel. The fuel to go to the end, no doubt. 36 to go now. And this may be, you got to think about it, under green flag conditions, the last time you're going to go down and visit your pit crew.
Yeah, I mean, especially if we're staying green this whole time, it looks like a couple of cars are starting to come in as Campbell and the 117 has started to come in. Yeah, there he is, John Campbell, in that, I believe that's a Krispy Kreme donut car. So he has hopped in, and he's going to get some new tires there. Bradley is coming in, as is Handlin.
Hang on, we don't even have Krispy Kremes in Australia there. So what's going on there, John? Unless they've had it since I've been back, but anyway. Hey, it's a sponsor. Ooh. It doesn't really matter.
As Harmon has a little bit of an interesting lockup coming in. So hopefully he was able to avoid a black flag for speeding in pit row, because that's not a fun time. I believe that's a stop and go penalty if you get one of those.
That'll murder you at this point. Won't it really, for a great position? And here comes.
And there goes Roethlisberger.
Our pole sitter. number 1, who's just come here. He's got a very good chance, of course, of winning this race as well as everybody else. So we'll see. Sean Bradley said Matt's in. They're coming in. Oh, there's Matt. We do know that Brandon Hinton is in. So it's just the rest of these. That is, as we know, Chris is up 15 positions, looking to go to the end on this one. But he's going to have to come pit road soon.
There he's coming in as he gets a big lockup on the outside, but it looks like he does get the car in as Harcum is also coming in. The one that I'm going to be curious about is Derek Catt, because now he's going to have the more or less go ahead to just floor it and try and get himself a nice lead, but he's not going to have to come in for a little while here, as most guys were able to pull, what's that, about 25 to 7, almost 50 laps on that set, and he's only on 40 laps so far, as he has gotten ahead of Harmon and Hinton before they were able to come back out, but he does have he has last changed on 40, so 50. He'd be pushing close to about 90 when the time he has to come in, so he's not sure. This could get real interesting real quick here.
Yeah, Mark goes in. There's
you
Ben.
get a few in, yep.
Where is... I'm still going to see... Remember, he's got to unlap himself because he's a couple of laps down, but that at least is bringing himself back into play. Chris comes back out in P4 on the fresh boots. But Al Corey, you have to give it to... I might keep it. Al is in the net lead of this race here because he's made his second pit stop, and he's he had boxed a little bit earlier on 66 was the lap he pitted on. So this is kind of very interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of the advantage of going in when he did, because you've got himself and Keith Hanlon is also ahead in a P2, but they came in solo. Opposed to having 5 or 6 different guys coming in. Sean Bradley did go in the same lap as Keith, but it was a little bit further behind. But because you were able to come in with that little bit of a gap before anybody else, or with no one really around you, you save time, because you can just get down to whatever speed you need to do, but you're not trying to stop for another car ahead of you. You're not worried about as the cat splits the middle going backwards real fast there, as Slaughter has now come in for his pit stop. As well, but
it's
one of those things where
Mark, that's the only ones left there, and that's the other car at the bottom of your pictures is the caution car. So now Al leads it from Keith in P2, so this is a Chevy domination 1-2, and then you have Chris and Ben a little bit further back in the road. But do remember that Mr. Al did box on lap 66, so his tires won't be as fresh, but he's got 30 to go. And what happened with Derek? Derek's still, unfortunately, a lap down.
And he's going to have to come in at some point, too.
I think he's coming in now. I saw a puff of smoke there. I wonder if... No, he's still going full speed, but yeah, he definitely has to come in. And once again, these are drivers taking the alternative gamble and say, well, give me a pace car right now, please. That'll work perfectly for me. Unfortunately, we can't control the pace car unless you out there in the chat happen to be trackside there and just run out on the track there. It's disabled anyway. Ben and Sean are battling for true position here. Only a couple of just 72 and 71 was the last lap they boxed on, so those tires are pretty much even Stevens, and they practically even Steven on the track there for 78 and 77 machine. Mate, they're only separated by one number and separated by one position.
And it looks like Derek Catt has come back in. And I was going to say, the other one that's interesting, Perazini is somehow still out there. He last pit on 24. Lap 24 was the last time he's in the pits. And he is still going around here. So I'm very curious how that one's going to play out, if he's just hoping at this point. Or he's going to come in very shortly here, because that car is, I'm sure, hurting at this point.
Send it home, Matty. You could do some testing for the tires. Unfortunately, I don't know who the tire company is at the moment. Is it? Is it Firestone or any of those? I don't know who they are. My apologies once again. I'm relatively new to oval racing.
They use Goodyear.
Oh, Goodyear. Okay, so there you go. It's going to be Goodyear tire tester. As you can see, Chris is pushing like mad. He just set the fastest lap, actually, the last lap. So Chris is getting on with it. He's got Keith and Al up the road if he wants to secure a P1.
Oof. Also a very fast drop down there, as he is right on the back of Hannigan. Of Handlin. talking about Chris, looking at a name threw me off. Yes, he's giving a little push, although they're going to come up to some of the lap traffic here. Yeah, as Perezzini is right there, and it looks like I think that's Crutchley who's just ahead of him.
So let's ride on board for a second, give us a bit of a perspective of, it's one thing to deal with traffic, well, the traffic's going to lift off and allow the race leaders through, as you would generally gentlemen's agreement to do that, but of course don't talk to James about blue flags, because they don't have to.
Yeah, I've heard those ones a few times.
He's also racing
but in NASCAR,
really
there's
hard
no
with
blue
this
flags.
man. So on top of it, he's got to keep an eye on what's going up the road here. And he's also got to keep an eye on his mirrors, because Keith is just here on the left inside.
And we kind of talked about it. That outside line is faster, and you can see it. He's pulled away from Hanlon very quickly. He's created a little bit of a gap, and he's reeled in Corey, and he is now in the lead. So he has taken over the lead, Corey's just using that outside line.
Back, maybe. You got to remember Corey's tires are a little bit more punishing at the moment. The 66. The last lap he boxed on was lap 66. These guys that we're watching at the moment, they're Keith had boxed on lap 70, lap 72 for Chris. So Chris's tires are a little bit more fresher. So is this now where Al's probably going, well, maybe my strategy is not absolutely the best, but he's still in the top 3, and there's 24 to go.
I was gonna say there's still 23 now to go, as they just crossed the finish line, as you said that, unfortunately. But yeah, it's all about being smart, and I think the downside, they're running this low line, which you can see Hannigan is creating a gap just by staying up high, and it's faster. It is just a faster end of things, and you're not going to burn your tires super fast going around.
Oh yeah, Al's
right
really punched the fence there, isn't he? A little bit.
Yeah, that's not going to help your speed either. That'll scrub off a lot of that speed very quickly.
So here comes Ben. Ben's been in the mix here for the 78 machine. He's got John a little bit further down the road, but him and is now going to be next up on this hit list. Of course, is that he's got Sean Bradley. He's been with Sean Bradley essentially like almost Siamese twins, haven't they, during this race? And almost very. In fact, if you look at it, it's almost opposite liveries, isn't it? It's very similar liveries, but you've got the red and you've got the purple. And this is now where Al is starting to suffer a little bit in the inside of those tires, and Al's holding on tight. How long can he hold on for?
Not looking fantastic, and I'm sure he's wishing he was getting around the world in 80 days at this point, in 80 hours, because yeah, he could use a little extra boost of speed.
Inside the line there, as you said, probably playing it safe. And in fact, if anything, that's blocked an opportunity for Sean to squeeze on through. But Sean knows he's got a little bit of time on his side. I'm going to actually go back here for a second and have a look. Oh, there we go. That's the one perspective I wanted to. It's Ben. So let's have a look riding on board with Ben.
Ooh, as he goes ripping by. Yeah, he's just gone. So that's going to be Harcum getting past, as well as he's going to stay up in that high line, going through turn 1 and 2 there as they make their way onto the back straight.
So now Al dropping back to essentially the same position he started the race on, P5. But obviously those different pit stop strategies he wanted to do with 20 to go, almost 19 to go now. Chris got back out to that lead of the race, so I didn't think Chris was worried too much about it. His strategies paid off. It's more about the rest, and that's actually pretty impressive. Got Chris leading this race from, it's gained 14 positions, so I guess to show you that qualifying on oval tracks isn't absolutely the most important thing. And then Keith Hanlon is in P2, and he's the man. We remember we were talking about Keith, wasn't he? Just everywhere in the pictures before. He's a bit of he loves the camera. He's now running in P2, chasing down Chris. So there's an opportunity. A little bit further back, about 2 seconds and change, you go to Sean Bradley, who did essentially start on the front row in P2. He's only dropped 1. He's the only 4 driver up there at the moment. And there's Ben. So this is going to be interesting, because this time's going to tick off pretty quickly at 18 to go. As you said, around the world in 80. This is it. Crunch time. I say you got a safety car, pace car come out right now. It's going to be a battle of who wants to win the race.
Yeah, although if you're any of these top 4 or even top 5, you're going to be looking at this and going, if a safety car comes out now, you're not going off. I wouldn't even bother. That's track position. I wouldn't want to give that up to somebody. So it would be very interesting to see what they would end up deciding to do there. And for those who are wondering why we keep talking about the around the world in 80 hours there. That is our sponsored race. So Around the World in 80 Hours 105, sponsored by the 002 of Oliver Turan, who is unfortunately not here today, but he is going to be walking, biking, and rowing his way back into shape, raising funds for the Ronald McDonald House to help take care of sick kids and their families. So if anyone does want to help donate, check out the description below our video here, as it will have a link there that you can go to and give some money to a fantastic organization in that Ronald McDonald House that allows families to kind of stay together while their kids are unfortunately spending extended periods of time in a hospital. So definitely a great thing. So definitely check that out and donate if you're able to. But yes, that is what that is in reference for.
Yeah, good on you, Chris, because, nobody likes to see sick children, and anything possibly do to help is fantastic. What we do like to see, of course, is fantastic racing as well, and we are going to see it because, I don't know if it's just me, but maybe Al backing off a little bit has conserved a little bit of the tyre so he can make a sprint run with 15 to go and see if he can get himself back up into a P4 or even a P3 position, depending on what's going up the road there, because now he's got a new resurgence of life there for the 45 Chevrolet.
Yeah, it's like he took that little shot of Red Bull just to get that little extra wings going, because he's now absolutely just reeling in Harkham and giving him a little bit of a fight instead of dropping off the back as it looked like he was going to end up doing. As you can see, there is a nice little gap after P5 there till P6, and then unfortunately for, I believe that's John Kreidler, sorry, I always miss that L, who's got a big gap behind him to Roethlisberger, as Hannigan is still holding onto this lead, and Sean Bradley trying to fight off Harkham and reel in Hadlon as best he can.
And he had to battle, Ben's been in the wars as well too, so Bear Heckham, thank you very much for your fantastic racing. I don't want to be pulling any drivers in at the moment, do we? Maybe. Oh, because this is getting exciting. They are starting to slap the wall. Now they're slapping the wall, not because I think the tyres are really at their absolute stretch yet. They didn't go. It's because they're stretching the limits of the power, because they're realizing, okay, tick-tock, tick-tock. Now it's the time to get any maneuvers and any moves you want to get done as quickly as possible. Speaking of, well, we have to go back to, wasn't it Matt, isn't it? Matt that had that unfortunate incident? No, it wasn't. It was...
Matt had the incident earlier, yeah.
Yeah, there is. So, hey, he's still in it, my friend, and look at that, P15. So
yeah,
all hopes aren't done.
A few spots. No, exactly, and that's the beauty of NASCAR. Is oval racing is unlike road. If you crash out and end up near the back, there's a good chance you're going to stay near the back. Whereas with oval racing, very quickly things can change, and one little spin or a terrible pit stop, and you're suddenly in a much better position very quickly.
11 to go at the moment. Chris is looking like he's got a little bit of this under control. He has a nice 2-second gap, and that's a lot of time to make up right now with a handful of laps to go and only basically a few miles to go, essentially, for Around the World in 80 hours. This was our fun racer here for the Triple Bypass Racing League, presented by the JP Broadcasting Network. I hope you're enjoying. Get the likes, thumbs up, and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe, but if you feel that you enjoy the race, just at least gives us a thumbs up. And I mean, everybody says it, don't they? Like and subscribe. I subscribe to what I find that you love and you really do want to continue to watch. That's what I do. I don't force anybody into it. If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to. But I guarantee you, there's so many great races. 10 to go right now. Chris is dominating. Can Ben do anything to steal that final podium position away? Al still lurking in the background, starting in P5, finishing P5, but we know his tyres are a little bit more worn. This man has not worn anything else but 14 positions gained. Chris, looking forward to a 9-lap to go race victory soon.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope. He's had a fantastic race, and he's obviously qualified a little down, I'm sure, of where he wanted to be, but he's just driven smooth, smart, and stayed out of trouble, and he's going to start utilizing, I believe that is the 28 car there of Matt Harmon. So he's going to get a little bit of a draft pull off of him on the straightaway here. So, well, he was, but it looks like he might actually even end up getting past him before they come out, as he is going to. So he's going to try and utilize draft or the slipstream ahead as best you can and keeping on that high line. Just you can carry so much more speed. You can hear he gets on the throttle so much later than if he was low down there. He keeps it out of the wall, which is always important. Something I should be better at. But
I told you, mate, take the wall out for a nice dinner. Still a grass battle going on at the moment, because it's like John's bringing it right now to Al, so Al's going to have to hold on tight here for a few more laps. We know his tyres were a little bit more burnt and cooked. I was going to say like a Texas barbecue at the moment, but it will be a Kansas barbecue. Hey, I was going to say, we're not in Kansas anymore, as they would say, but we are in Kansas, so yeah, you'd be clicking your heels 3 times to say there ain't no place like home. Well, unfortunately, Al has dropped it, and my bad references to the Wizard of Oz have failed. But Sean Bradley and Kiefer now, a tooth and nail here for the battle for P2. And I have to say, Chris has got this, unless he makes a mistake. But who wants the P2?
yeah, last time I said, well, this person's got the lead and they've got nothing to worry about. They collided with a lapped car and the guy and then took out P2 and P3 ended up winning. So anything can happen, even if there's just, it sounds 3-second lead, 6 laps left. He's pretty much got the weird things happen. So definitely stick around because it's going to get real spicy real fast here as we have Ben Harcum looking to make a move on Hanlon here. Keith doing what he can in that Southern Tier Brewing 55 car as he's trying to hold off Harcum and try and reel back in Bradley, but he's having a little bit of trouble. As you can see, tire wear starting to affect him a little bit. Him and Sean both came in on lap 70, whereas Harcum and Hannigan came in on lap 72.
This is going to be how this ends up, because I forgot about that. Actually, Ben's in the mix here as well too for a possible P2 position. Either way, 2 of these gladiators, if they do cross the line, should get a podium position. But who wants to get that P2? Who wants to stand next to Chris at the top of the podium currently at the moment? That it looks like. We know Ben's been absolutely spicy. Keith is 14 positions gained as well. So Keith in that 28 machine getting completely out of that one. And GG's to you, my friend. That's Matt Harmon. He's going to finish in P14. And believe it or not, May started in P14, so he's got nothing to lose and nothing to gain. And he elected to let these champions battle it out there for 3 to go. Chris is probably wondering in his mirrors what is going on. Well, Chris, this is what you need to be seeing right now. Actually, Chris is like, I just want to see Barney first. Then I'll watch this back.
As Ben Harcum makes a little bit of contact with the wall, he seems to get a little high. I'm not sure if he's just having trouble seeing where the wall actually is, because he's been coming out of corners and getting just a touch high as he makes contact once again, going out of turn 3 and into turn 4 there, but somehow is not scrubbing off too much speed, but I think that's not helping his cause by any means, as he looks to try and get past Hanlon here.
Maybe the last opportunity that it'll have with very 2 to go. So unfortunately, if you don't get that done now soon, partner, then we'll have to switch it over to the man that's going to be winning the hour, stealing the hour, and getting it done there for the 284 machine. Look how close they are to the wall because they're pushing right now. You don't need to. No refunds. You can take the car back to pit road with damage, but this man doesn't need to. He's done everything right, hasn't he? Creep through the field. All right, pit stop strategy. Called it. Hometown. Not the hometown hero. He's from Canada, I believe. There. Oh, Chris can murder him, but I don't know. The 84 machine. Deep in the heartland of Kansas Speedway, should be getting ready for the final lap. Over to you. You can call this one there fantastically, Ken.
Sounds good. Well, as you can see, Chris Hannigan coming through. He is going to dip down into the apron as he's going to make his way past the final checkered flag on his last lap there, as Barney gives him the nice little wave, as we can see. And then Bradley coming in P2. Hanlon is going to hold P3 with Harcum, Kreider, Corey, Roethlisberger, as it looks like Slaughter actually able to slide past Benson as they're coming through. As we're going to have this little duel coming right to the line here. So we've got these two coming through, and it looks like Slaughter might have just gotten him. It looks like by about 0.03 of a second. So nice and close there, as the last couple guys start filtering through, and a fantastic race out of Hannigan. I mean, 14 places gained. Even Keith Hanlon, he also had 14 places gained. So a fantastic race for a few guys, but Chris Hannigan doing what he had to do, keeping his head down and just driving his heart all the way through to the finish line and see if he's going to do. And there it is. Absolutely. Yeah, there's the winner's donuts.
You got to do them. You got to do them.
Yeah, you have to.
You got.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah,
Some pretty nice looking donuts too. Well done. Most of the time I see people try and do donuts on this and it's just not
Well,
good.
I want to see the drivers actually sign your initials with burnt
I
out
would-
tire. Come on.
I'd love to see that. That'd look fantastic. Oh, looks like he got himself, or is he doing an actual burnout? Or is he stuck? Okay, no, he's just doing a burnout. I was like, well, got himself caught on the little lip there. So a fantastic day for that 84 car of Chris Hannigan. But yeah, so as you can see
That's
there,
not
your
that's
winners.
That's the qualifying results. My apologies. Just testing. This race results coming up right now for you.
Perfect. So Chris Hannigan in P1, Sean Bradley in P2, Keith Hanlon in P3, Ben Harcum P4, John Kreidler in P5, Al Corey in P6, Zach Roethlisberger P7, Jeff Slaughter in P8, Jason Benson P9, John Campbell in P10, Chris Melton in 11th, John Crutchley in 12th, Brandon Hinton in 13, Matt Perazini in 14th, Matt Harmon in 15th, Mark Herzog in 16th, Derek Catt in 17th, Dustin Barton in 18th. And then we had a couple of people unable to finish today, unfortunately. I guess that was so Dustin Barton, Kyle Grishik, Tyler Merritt as well. And then John Barton did not take the start line today, so rather unfortunate there. But I think Merritt, if I saw correctly, he had internet problems. But a fantastic race for the Diabetics Racing of Chris Hannigan there.
Yes, it was. So we'll go briefly to see if we get any interviews there from these gladiators.
Yeah, so I will start. Oh, Chris just oh, no, someone else disappeared. All right, so we will start with Keith Hanlon as he was our P3 and work our way up here as we bring Keith Hanlon in. Keith, how'd that one feel for you? Nice little tense moments near the end. So how'd that end up going?
Keith is celebrating. You right there, Keith? You there, Keith? Do you copy?
He's talking. Not is he muted?
No. All right, we might have to come back to Keith real quick there, and we'll get the next driver in there. Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, okay. We'll try and figure that one out. But Sean, where's Sean? Sean, there we go. Sean is muted currently, but we'll see if Sean is able to unmute himself as we'll bring him in. And Sean, beautiful little dash to the end there as you were able to take back over P2. Other than that, how did everything feel for you today?
Felt pretty good. I'm not sure what happened with me and Zach for the lead there, but managed to gather it back up. I don't know if I came down on him or what. If I did, I'm sorry, but just glad I could continue on after that, even though my tires were dead. But yeah, the climb back at the end there, it was just a couple of lucky incidences where I could put myself in a position and just took advantage.
Yeah, it was very fantastic race to watch, and like I said, you had some solid duels with both Zach Roethlisberger there, and then also Ben Harcum. You guys had kind of a duel. It seemed like that never ended. It was a constant thing going through. How did that feel battling with Ben for it seemed like 90% of the race?
Yeah, no, he had we have very similar pace. That's why we were kind of glued the entire time. So he did a great job, and it was great racing with him. He's a very clean guy, so I couldn't ask for more than that.
Well, fantastic. Obviously a great finish there for you. Was there anyone you wanted to give a shout out to before we let you go?
This is my first race with this league. I don't really have any shout outs to give at the moment, but thanks for asking anyways.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations on P2, and we will hopefully see you for the next one. Oh man, I totally blank-minded on where we're going in Bristol. There we go.
Bristol, yeah. Thank you.
I had it in my brain. I was like, I know where we're going, but then I forgot. So hopefully we'll see you again for Bristol there.
You bet. See you then.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Sean Bradley himself then for a fantastic drive. He started in P2. He kept his head down. Obviously, the P1 was up just close enough to get the reach, but not bad for a first drive in this league. So, Canada, my friend, gets himself right up there as the 77 machine delivered
for sure.
And for the forward, now who do we have next?
Well, we'll try Keith Hanlon again here. See if we can figure out what's going on with that. Let's see if Keith can we hear you? I guess because I know you could hear us, but we'll see if we can hear you.
Yeah, I think I unmuted my mic. So
there we go, Keithy. Yeah,
perfect. All right. Well, a fantastic race for you. Obviously, the start looked the first stint looked a little shaky near the end of your tires, but we were commenting you were shaking and shimmying your way through, but how'd that first stint sort of go and then evolve into the second and final stint there for you?
Well, I didn't get a chance to practice, so I didn't qualify very well. And then I was able to drive up through, but once I got to people I actually had to race to pass, I kind of burned up my right front. I learned a little bit from that, but I learned a lot more of the second run.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely learned a lot considering you went up 14 places today in this race. So you had a fantastic ending for sure, and obviously you managed to stay out of trouble, which is always a great idea. Other than that, I mean, like the battle you had there with Sean Bradley nearing the end, obviously was very close, very tight, and you were kind of dueling it out, and then you sort of stuck in no man's land in the sense that you had both to look ahead to try and fight for Bradley and then behind dealing with Ben Harcum. How did that feel, kind of being sandwiched there a little bit?
Honestly, I was just trying to hang on, trying to run some decent lap time so I could stay top 3.
Fair enough. Well, you managed to do so. So congratulations on a solid P3 finish there. And was there anyone you wanted to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No, thank you.
No worries. Well, hopefully we'll see you in Bristol, and congratulations once again on P3.
He's like a Kimi Räikkönen, isn't he?
I was just very, very straightforward there.
Yeah, he's probably got something in his head and chatting to a million people. But you know what? 14 positions gained for the 50.5 machine, and on top of it, Keith had a lot of screen time tonight. So if you're getting screen time, it means you're right in the mix, aren't you, of all the battles? Unfortunately, well, Chris also had some screen time. Hopefully, we get Chris in here for a yarn because he's the man that won his first race of this league.
The season 3 round 1 winner of Chris Hannigan had a fantastic race, making up 14 positions. Was that the plan? You were like, I'm going to qualify near the back and just go through everybody?
Absolutely not. I just hit the wall in qualifying and couldn't get a lap in. So there you go. That's the result. And I was honestly surprised I wasn't expecting to win this race at all. I mean, I wasn't quick in practice and I wasn't, I hit the wall in qualifying. So I'm like, humming and hawing about how it's going to be a rough race, but honestly, the first 10 laps, I just felt so much quicker. I was going by the guys on the high side, and I was concerned I was burning my tires off, but that didn't seem to happen as much as I anticipated, and it just kind of worked in my favor. I mean, when Zach and Sean got together in front of me, that opened the door, and then I guess Zach had an issue on his pit stop or something, and then from there on, it was just drive the car,
Yeah, I mean, it was quite entertaining because it was like, oh, there's a connection. Oh, and Chris is gone. Like, it wasn't even like, he kind of makes his way. No, he's just gone, and there was no one coming near you after that. So, I mean, it looked fantastic, and obviously you managed to just stay out of trouble because you could have easily gotten tied up with them there. So that's always good that you were able to stay out of that. Watching everything coming behind you, going through traffic on those last few laps, were you getting a little concerned as you're starting to come up on lapped cars, knowing that there's three or four drivers coming up real fast behind you, or just kind of keep your head smooth and keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, initially, I think they pitted ahead of me, so they were on a few lap older tires, which makes a difference here. But once I got past both, I think it was Al and somebody, Keith, I think, right? So I passed both of them. I wasn't expecting to pull away, but I started to, and when the lap traffic came out, I mean, some of those lap guys were running the same lap times I was, and it was because of the tire difference and everything, and I wasn't trying to run as hard as I could. I was trying to save the tires in case we needed them at the end for some reason, because we still had like a 30 lap run there at the end, and I mean, I don't know. Once I got about 3 seconds out and I saw the gap wasn't really closing down, I just started looking out the windshield more and just trying to hit laps and not hit the wall as much as I had been, and just pray that a caution didn't come out. Because if a caution came out, I probably would have been screwed really bad. But no, that was so much fun, dude. I don't race ovals a whole lot. I'm getting back into it. It's a lot of fun. This is a very unique track where you can kind of run that high line all the way around. And if you get it right, it feels fantastic. If you get it wrong, you'll kind of stripe the wall a little bit. But what a fun night. Good group of guys. Long green flag run there at the end. My shoulder's killing me because I haven't turned left that hard in a long time. So that was fun. But yeah, what a blast! It's such a great group of guys, and thank you guys for covering for me because I did this season with James. So I unfortunately I told him I want to race with these guys. This looks fun. So appreciate you guys hopping in and covering the race.
What a way, Chris said. So when you were talking about that last season, of course, commentating about the race, and like if people were to go, what does Chris know what he's talking about? Well, he does. He came out in the first race of the season and just dominated. So the man does know exactly what he's talking about. And we'll let you go. You're doing your burnouts right now, my friend, on the screen, and it's good to see that one. So congratulations, 14 positions gained, my friend. The 84 machines on fire. Chris, anyone you want to say a shout out to?
Shout out to my sponsor, Shoney's. Check out the buffet, all-you-can-eat buffet and early bird dinner for the elderly folks. Appreciate them hopping on board for the win. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate. I know Sean was in here. He came over from the other league as well, which is awesome. And yeah, 1-2 for us. That was awesome. Yes, thank you guys. Thank everyone for the league for setting this up, and looking forward to the next one.
Fantastic. Well, have yourself a great one. We'll hopefully see you in Bristol in some capacity, whether it's casting or driving.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, with that, fantastic drive, fantastic race, and that will basically wrap up our Around the World in 80 Hours 105. Obviously sponsored by the 002 of Oliver Turan. Once again, if you do want to donate or are able to donate, there's a link down in the description of the video here. Ronald McDonald House, fantastic organization. One of those ones that definitely deserves as much donations as they can get because they do a lot for families and children dealing with long hospital stays. So definitely do that. But Biggles, any last words from you there?
No, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everybody. That's it. We'll call it a night. So, of course, you tune in for more of the fantastic action because you've been around the world in 80 hours for the fitness channel. Well, you haven't yet, but it's a fundraiser. So please, once again, make sure you follow those links and support the people that do require and do need it because this league supports them. Good night, everybody.